Mr. President, what you talking to Vladimir Putin about?
You.
So that was Joe Biden just casually roasting Fox News correspondent Peter Doocy earlier today, who's basically like, what did you say to Vladimir Putin? And he was like, we talked about you. You know, he sends his regards. Just a very sarcastic answer, but not an inappropriate one. It was a silly question, and we'll get into why, and it got a silly answer. And I'm pleasantly surprised, frankly, to see this, because one of my main criticisms of Biden, I have so many, ideologically above all, he's just far too centrist, far too neoliberal for my tastes. But also, he's really bad at taking questions. Whether it's with black civil rights leaders in behind closed door meetings, or whether it was with journalists during the primary, when he got questioned, he often responded by snapping, by kind of freaking out, by just telling people to go vote for the other guy or go vote for Trump or whatever. And here, he sort of plays along a little bit, and it's good to see. And he did basically the same thing yesterday, showing that he can still build this relationship while getting his point across.
Now, wait. I know he always asks me tough questions, and he always has an edge to them, but I like him anyway. So go ahead and ask the question.
Thank you, Mr. President. So you just said that you think within 3 weeks or so we'll be at the point where there are 1 million vaccines per day, but it seems like...
No, I think we'll get there before that. I said, I misspoke. I hope we'll be able to increase as we go on till we get to the 1.5 million a day. That's my hope.
And then the follow-up to that would be, now that you're president and you're saying there's nothing we can do to change the trajectory of the pandemic in the next several months, what happened to 2 months ago when you were talking declaratively about, I am going to shut down the virus?
Well, I'm going to shut down the virus, but I never said I'd do it in 2 months. I said it took a long time to get here. It's going to take a long time to beat it. And so we have millions of people out there who have the virus.
And so that was Biden yesterday. Again, Doocy wanting to ask a question. Apparently he wasn't on the priority list, but Biden was like, oh, I know he's a tough guy. I like him, though. He asks hard-edged questions. And then he gave a question to the Fox News correspondent, which was smart because the question wasn't going to be really that cutting. Fox News rarely asks really good questions because they're always obviously designed to kind of generate a right-wing talking point. Like, they're not really doing factual, hard-hitting journalism. It's like, aren't you outraged by, socialism or something like that? And why is President Biden trying to destroy America and something like that? So, Biden takes the question and he looks magnanimous doing it. Like, oh, I went out of my way to include Fox News. The previous guy basically stopped taking questions from people he called quote-unquote fake news and started to prioritize OAN and Newsmax, and I'm going to take questions even from my enemies. Smart politics. And let's be clear, he wasn't being disrespectful here. Some conservatives are actually freaking out about this, if you can believe that. When they're saying, like, look, Biden disrespects Fox News correspondent by mocking him. And I don't think that's true. I think last week he was disrespectful to the reporter who asked him about his vaccine distribution timeline. I felt that was disrespectful and I made a video on it. Here, he's clearly joking, and the question is silly. You already know what Putin and Biden talked about. Every time Biden's had a meeting with a world leader, Trudeau, Boris Johnson from the UK, Putin and others, he's put out one of these, short documents outlining what they've talked about. It's not a transcript, but it's a pretty detailed agenda of what they plan to talk about and what was said. So you already know what Biden and Putin talked about. It's a waste of a question. It's a waste of Biden's time, and it's a waste of time of everybody in the room. So this was actually a good performance from Biden. I think today hasn't been the worst day for Biden. I think that his start of the move to ban federal private prisons is a good one. It's not all the way there yet. It isn't. He still hasn't started with ICE facilities, which are among the worst. So frankly, he's only started, but started he has. Minimum wage increase, I've been critical of that far too slow, but they've started it. So when Biden is good, I'll give him praise. Today was one of those days. As long as he keeps ribbing Fox News like this, I'm sure he's going to endear himself to a lot of Americans.